greatest players in football are defined by their triumphs, signature styles and the footprint they leave behind once they depart the beloved game. They are the superstars who have left a unique mark on the game, an impact so profound it is woven into the very foundation of the sport today. They are the players responsible for the evolution of the game. They are the visionary icons who push themselves and the sport to new heights. From the streets of Latin America, glorious talents such as Neymar, Chicharito, James and the phenomenal Lionel Messi have emerged. They are the successors to legends who have long since hung up their cleats. Heirs that will seek to emulate and surpass the players before them. The athletes that paved the roads to glory with their dazzling skills and mesmerizing control of the ball. Names like Pelé, Hugo Sanchez, El Pibe Valderrama, and Diego Armando Maradona. In the next hour, we will compare and celebrate these generational talents. See why they are considered one of, if not the best, to ever step on the pitch. This is Draw. When the world mentions football, all eyes turn to Brazil. A nation with a unique fusion of various cultures. Brazilians didn't invent the sport, but they were able to make it their own. They adopted its foundations, and now it's become part of their DNA. Two of the sport's greatest players were born here. Edson Arantes do Nascimento. Pelé is considered to be the most important player to have ever lived, and Neymar stands as Brazil's most exciting prodigy today. Both began there, like many in Brazil, by playing on dirt or rugged concrete surfaces. And as fate would have it, neither the pavement in the favelas nor the indoor wooden pitches could contain the grandiosity of these two rare breed individuals. They overcame every single adversity that crossed their path on the road to becoming national heroes. Pelé was born in 1940, just south of Minas Gerais. And Neymar was born in 1992, east of São Paulo. Both stars, born decades apart, began their journey in Santos Football Club. Even though the playing field looked very different on the dates of their arrival, the sentiment in the air and passion for the game remained unchanged. Pelé joined Santos in 1956, after being scouted by former player Waldemar de Brito. Conversely, Neymar was discovered during his time practicing with the Portuguese Santista Futsal Academy. The 1940s and 1950s were years of political tension in Brazil. The nation was finally able to rid itself of a military dictatorship that had deprived its people of their freedoms for many years. The country's economy began to boom, and the economic growth seemed to spread everywhere throughout the country, except the favelas. São Paulo. Estadio Urbano Caldeira, popularly known as Vila Belmiro, was where these two remarkable players began developing their skills and their swagger. After a brief spell in the youth league, Pelé joined Santos's first team at the age of 15. Pelé's talent was undeniable. His skills were so impressive that at the mere age of 17, he was chosen to form part of the team that would represent Brazil in the 1958 World Cup in Sweden. But it was not an entirely smooth experience. Upon his arrival with the national team, Pelé was labelled as young, naive and inexperienced by the team's psychologist. However, Vicente Fiola, coach of the Scratch do Ouro at the time, completely disregarded the psychologist's diagnosis and allowed the Brazilian star to travel with the team. Pelé witnessed Brazil's first game of the tournament from the bench. His debut came later during a match against the Soviet Union. Pelé scored his first World Cup goal against Wales. That match did more than Pelé could fathom. It instantly let the world know that he was a force to be reckoned with. Brazil's team reached the tournament's final, where they faced the host, Sweden. This encounter confirmed everything that had been predicted about Pelé. He scored 2 goals that ultimately led Brazil to their first World Cup in history. At 17 years old, Edson Arantes do Nascimento became an international celebrity. At the same age, Neymar Jr. debuted in Brazil's first division. He was included in Santos' first team in 2009. Ney scored more than 40 goals in 60 games, and with his cheeky approach, he became a vital factor in Santos' Campeonato Paulista and the Copa do Brasil's victorious campaigns. Despite his incredible accomplishments, Neymar was not included in the 23-man roster that would represent Brazil during the World Cup in South Africa. Like Pelé, Ney was labelled as inexperienced by Dunga, the national team's coach. Dunga was later fired for the team's poor results during the tournament. Months later, with no obstacles in the way, Neymar had the opportunity to make his first appearance with the national team. This took place during a friendly match versus the United States. In 2010, Neymar's exceptional achievements earned him an invite to the annual FIFA Gala. There, he received the Puskás Award for scoring the best goal of the year and was also recognized as the best South American player of the year. In 1962, at only 21 years of age, Pelé was already considered the best football player on the planet. He was indispensable for Brazil and a fundamental part of Santos' midfield. He made history with both teams, creating unforgettable moments that would live on in the sport forever. To this day, Pelé has been the only player to have won the World Cup on 3 occasions, and with Santos, he was able to break the predominance that the Argentine teams had over the Brazilian squads. They were able to defeat Boca and lift their second Copa Libertadores in the mythical Bombonera, something that has never been replicated. Pelé played most of his career in his home country, but the same cannot be said for Neymar, whose chapter in Brazil was cut short by modern times. The tempting offer to play for Barcelona, one of the world's most dominant teams, led the Brazilian sensation to depart Santos and sign a lavish contract with the Catalan club in 2013. But Ney's newfound glory in Europe did not sidetrack his commitment with the national team. He put his talent on display alongside the rest of the Seleção at the Confederations Cup, the 2014 World Cup and the Rio Olympics. Pelé also experienced a short international stint. He packed his bags and travelled north of Brazil to the United States, where he joined the New York Cosmos. In 1977, after 2 years with the Cosmos, the King played his last professional match. The game was between his beloved Santos and his current home, the Cosmos. The match was the perfect farewell for this iconic player. Today, Neymar is considered one of the best players in the world, and carrying such a coveted title has opened many doors for the young athlete. In 2017, he departed from Barcelona's Camp Nou. and joined Paris Saint-Germain, who offered the star boy a contract that broke several transfer records. For years, Brazil has been represented by world-class talent. It has become impossible not to compare new generations to the nation's permanent hero, Pelé. With so many eyes upon him, will Neymar Jr. live up to the king? It is difficult to draw a conclusion based on leadership and achievements at this time, as Ney is still very young. And although they are both extraordinary players, they have each taken on two very different roles on the pitch. Pelé played most of his career as a withdrawn forward or a centre attacking mid. Neymar excels when he's coming in from the left wing, but has also taken on roles as a second striker and as centre forward for Brazil. He is extremely efficient at destabilising the opponent's defence, making him extremely dangerous, just like his predecessor. Neymar currently holds more than 50 goals in a little more than 80 appearances with the national team, which places him very close to matching Pelé's record of 72 goals in 92 matches. On a larger scale, it is unlikely for Neymar to break Pelé's grand record of 1,000 goals by the age of 29. Ney currently holds slightly over a quarter of that number at the age of 26. Ney and the King can be compared on various characteristics, such as their vision, agility, ability to outwit defenders, and the ginga they brewed up while playing as kids on the street of Brazil. Both are undeniable trick masters, perfecting everything from magical sombrero flicks to impressive elásticos. When Pelé retired, he became the image for a number of different commercial brands. He also participated in several films and TV shows. Pelé has worked tirelessly to defend human rights and was appointed a UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador as a result of his initiatives. As far as his personal life goes, Pelé is father to 7 children and has been married 3 times. Most recently, he eloped with his current partner, Marcia Aoki, in 2016. Neymar has also found love in his personal life. He is currently dating the Brazilian actress Bruna Marquezine. When we return, we will travel to Mexico, where we will take a stroll down memory lane and take a closer look at the beginnings of 2 of Mexico's brightest football stars, Hugo Sánchez, Javier Chicharito Hernandez. Football is experienced differently in every country. In Mexico, the passion fueled by football is intense. Here, football is more than just a sport. It's a religion, and the players are the gods. This melting pot of rich cultural history is located in the northernmost part of Latin America. It is also the birthplace of 2 of the game's brightest stars, Hugo Sánchez Márquez and Javier Hernandez Balcázar, El Chicharito. Hugo Sánchez Márquez was born in Mexico City in 1958. Javier Hernandez Balcázar was born 29 years later in Guadalajara. Both players came into the world with remarkable pedigrees. Sanchez's father played for Atlante in Cancun, while Javier's father and grandfather were both Mexican football idols during their time. Both were exposed to the game at a very early age, Hugo Sánchez at 14 years old and Javier Hernandez at 9 years old. The pair developed an appetite for goals that set them apart from the rest. In 1974, Sánchez took his first steps in professional football with the youth system at the National Autonomous University of Mexico. That marks the beginning of a 21-year career filled with pages of unforgettable football artistry. Chicharito began his journey to the top at the Club Deportivo Guadalajara Youth Academy. Hugo's career developed quickly. In 1976, in addition to his debut with Puma's first team, he also represented his country at the Montreal Olympics. At the age of 18, he was already demonstrating his talents with the senior national team. His efforts earned Mexico their qualification to the 1978 World Cup held in Argentina. That same year, he demonstrated his skills on the pitch by finishing off his third season with Pumas with more than 25 goals. In 1980, he was an instrumental part on the path to winning the Mexican League, the CONCACAF Club Championship, and the Inter-American Cup. His spectacular performance throughout the season attracted the attention of a European giant, and at the age of 23, Sánchez embarked on a journey overseas. Chicharito began to write his own history at the young age of 15, when his youth club, Chivas, offered him his first professional contract. In 2009, Chicharito's talent exploded exponentially as he began to play at his full potential. He finished the year as the top scorer with 11 goals and as the champion of the Interliga. The following year, his triumphs earned him a spot on the senior team that would represent Mexico during the World Cup in South Africa. In the tournament, he scored his first World Cup goal against France. Back home, he found himself leading the top scorer list once again. His phenomenal performances for Chivas caught the eye of Manchester United, and at 22 years of age, Javier Hernandez signed with the Red Devils. Hugo Sánchez was just 1 year older when he arrived in Europe and joined Atletico Madrid. Sánchez had a tough time adapting to the Spanish team's rough ways of playing. This was obvious in his performance. This incited a wave of criticism from the Spanish press, who labeled the Mexican player a total failure. Sánchez remained driven. He was not going to let these obstacles stand in the way of him fulfilling his goal. He was determined to succeed outside of his country's domestic league, and in the 1984 to 1985 season, the world began to witness his grandiosity. That year, he was a fundamental part of the Colchoneros' triumphs in the Copa del Rey and in the Spanish Super Cup, all while securing his place as Pichichi of the league. These successes caught the attention of Spanish superclub and neighboring rival Real Madrid. In 1985, 27-year-old Sánchez took the definitive step that united him with the victorious merengue side. A fantastic group of players, known as La Quinta del Buitre, led by Emilio Butragueño, were waiting for Hugo's arrival at the Santiago Bernabéu. The lethal combination of Hugo and La Quinta established an unbeatable dynasty in the Spanish league that lasted for 5 years. In 4 of them, Hugo was named Pichichi of the league, and thus the legend of the Penta Pichichi was born. Chicharito's first year in Europe was remarkable. With the help of his effectiveness in crucial situations, Manchester United managed to win the Premier League and the Community Shield. This earned him the respect of his teammates and, above all, of his coach, Sir Alex Ferguson. After 4 years at Manchester, Chicharito's stay came to an end. That summer, his nation reached the round of 16 at the World Cup in Brazil, and subsequently he became the 4th Mexican in history to sign with Real Madrid. In 1992, Hugo Sánchez departed Real Madrid and embarked on a 4-year journey through the leagues in Austria, the United States, Spain and Mexico. In 1997, at the age of 39, he retired from football in his homeland. Chicharito's fate is very similar to that of his predecessor. When he departed Real Madrid, he took on a new challenge in the Bundesliga. During his 2 years with Bayern Leverkusen, he scored a total of 39 goals. In 2017, he made a return to the Premier League and joined his current club, West Ham United. Hugo Sanchez and Javier El Chicharito Hernandez have become legacies in their own right, but one thing sets them apart: the number of goals each has scored. During his 21-year career, Sanchez reached the 500-goal milestone. That number could possibly outshine Chicharito's accomplishments, as he has only scored around 190 goals at the age of 29. Those numbers don't dim Hernandez's talents, who has scored almost 50 goals for the Tri, making him Mexico's top scorer. During his time, Sanchez was only able to score 29 goals for the national team. Hugo amazed the masses with his bicycle kicks, volleys, and of course his signature celebrations that defied gravity. Hernandez has been a quieter and more reserved player throughout his career. Javier is used to defining the final moments of every game and has become the last-minute hero on multiple occasions. Chicharito's weaknesses were Sanchez's strengths. His long-distance shots gave him a clear advantage. He was dangerous inside, outside and around the box, while Chicharito shines best when he's receiving passes from outside the penalty area. Despite their differences, they are both considered two of the best players in Mexican history. Although their careers took similar paths, the lives of these two athletes could not have been any more different. Hugo Sanchez was one of the first Mexican players to market himself as an athlete. He made appearances in several commercials, talk shows and advertising campaigns in Mexico and in Spain. Sanchez embraced fame and lived for the crowds. There's even a street named after him in the Mexican city of Puebla. Football continues to hold an important role in his life. He currently works as a sports commentator in Mexico. Chicharito, on the other hand, is less of a protagonist and prefers to use his fame to support humanitarian causes. In 2012, Hernandez was appointed as a UNICEF ambassador. He utilizes his fame to support initiatives in Mexico that aim to help children living in poverty. When we return, we will travel south to Colombia, where we will see where Carlos El Pibe Valderrama and James Rodriguez, two extraordinary players, took their first steps in the world of football. Colombia is a nation rich in coffee, countryside and sea. A nation reborn from decades of conflict and heartbreak. Its people turned to music, art and football to find joy. Two of their greatest football legends share something that makes them great: the number 10. Carlos El Pibe Valderrama was born in 1961 in the coastal city of Santa Marta. And 29 years later, in the city of Cúcuta, his successor, James Rodriguez, was born. Carlos Valderrama was born into a humble family. He played football whenever he could with his brothers and cousins. But his natural talent quickly set him apart from the rest. Football was also a fundamental part of James Rodriguez's early life. Everything in his life revolved around a football. Between the ages of 4 and 5, he joined the Tolimense Youth Academy, and the course of his life was transformed. El Pibe signed his first professional contract with Unión Magdalena at the age of 19. This marked the beginning of the road that would lead him to become part of the Millonarios de Bogotá and Deportivo Cali, the clubs where he demonstrated his one-of-a-kind talent. In 1987, he led the team during their third-place finish at the Copa America, where he was recognized as the best player of the tournament. In 1988, his amazing skills and intelligence as a midfielder earned him a move to the French league, playing for Montpellier. James Rodriguez's encounter with international football arrived before his 20th birthday. He had already excelled in Colombia's Primera B, and at just 15 years old, he became the youngest player in Colombia's under-17. In 2005, he was presented the opportunity to show off his techniques with the first team at Envigado Football Club. 3 years later, James's impressive performance allowed him to demonstrate his skills at Banfield in Buenos Aires. 8 months later, the Colombian superstar became the youngest foreign debutant in the Argentine First Division. With this string of accomplishments, Rodriguez caught the attention of the old continent, especially of one of the fiercest clubs in Portugal, Porto. In 2010, at the age of 18, the Colombian midfielder finalized his move to Europe. Unlike James, Valderrama's consecration as a player did not come until after his 27th birthday. In 1990, he was the strength of Montpellier's midfield and a key player in the French Cup victory. But it was at that year's World Cup in Italy that Valderrama played the best tournament of his life. He led Colombia to the round of 16 for the first time in the country's history. After the World Cup, Valderrama searched for new challenges, and he briefly took his talents to Spain, where he joined Valladolid. He returned home and helped strengthen the national team as they made their way to the second World Cup. Colombia's demonstration of skill during their 5-0 victory against Maradona's Argentina in River Plate's Estadio Monumental was historic. The road to the tournament was impressive, but Colombia's World Cup dream rapidly turned into a nightmare. The team did not live up to their expectations in the group stage. They lost their first match against Romania and the second to the United States due to an own goal carried out by defender Andrés Escobar. Despite having achieved victory during the third match, fate was set and Colombia was sent home. The defeat was heartbreaking and coincided with some of the hardest times in Colombian history, as the guerrillas and drug traffickers terrorized the country's citizens. Only 11 days after the arrival of the national team, Andrés Escobar was assassinated. The news tarnished and stained the national team's success. Valderrama retired from international football in 1998 after playing in the World Cup in France. And in 2002, he officially retired from football, leaving behind the memories he created during his 21-year career. Although Valderrama's achievements fill important chapters in the history of Colombian football, James continues writing his own story. His first year in Europe was a total success. In 2010, Porto won the Europa League and the Taça del Portugal. In 2012, he was recognized as the best player in the league with the Bola de Oro. In 2013, he was acquired by Monaco in a deal worth €45 million, and his development as a player came at a crucial time for Colombian football. With his leadership and technical input, the Cafeteros returned to the World Cup following a 16-year absence. In Brazil 2014, Colombia fascinated millions with their vibrant style and James with his spectacular goals. He was honoured with a Golden Boot, 3 Man of the Match recognitions, and his name began to appear on the radar of Europe's biggest clubs. It was quite a year for James. By the third quarter of 2014, Spanish giants Real Madrid had signed Rodriguez for €90 million. During his time in Madrid, he won the European Super Cup and the Club World Cup, scoring more than 15 phenomenal goals. In 2017, Rodriguez departed the Spanish capital and joined his current team, Bayern Munich. Comparing these two Colombian football stars has become inevitable. James and El Pibe Valderrama have defended the Colombian colours with honour and have carried the number 10 with pride. Rodriguez's speed and vision are things Valderrama did not possess, but Valderrama compensated his weaknesses with his intelligent anticipation and defensive tactics. James is a bit more versatile and can be placed in different positions. He has lined up as a winger or attacking midfielder. Carlos played further back, a playmaker during the majority of his career, and only towards the end of his career as an attacking midfielder. Although Rodriguez is primarily left-footed, these two sensational assist machines share the incredible ability to play well with both feet. They also share the mental capacity to prioritize, making crucial passes to teammates despite having to sacrifice scoring opportunities. Valderrama scored almost 90 goals throughout his 21-year career, while James, with a long way to go in his career, has already surpassed the 100th goal mark. Carlos Valderrama is known for his eccentric behaviour and charisma. He is idolised as a symbol of football in his nation. In 2014, he was inducted into the Football Hall of Fame in Mexico. He has been married twice and has 6 children. James Rodriguez is one of the most popular footballers in the world today. He was married to Daniela Ospina, sister of his teammate David Ospina, with whom he has a daughter named Salome Rodriguez. According to Forbes magazine, Rodriguez was one of the top-earning athletes of 2017. When we return, we will take a closer look at the careers and the lives of 2 Argentine legends. Diego Armando Maradona and Lionel Messi. It's impossible not to mention Argentina when discussing football. This 2-time World Cup winning nation has without a doubt made its name in the world of football. 2 of its most beloved and legendary players are Diego Armando Maradona and Lionel Andres Messi. Maradona is considered the best player of the late 20th century by many, and Messi is one of the most important figures in the modern-day game. Maradona was born on October 30th, 1960 in Villa Fiorito, a suburb in Buenos Aires. 6 years later, in the city of Rosario, Lionel Messi was born. Like most Argentine children, Maradona's first love was football. Those who saw Diego play as a child knew he was built differently. The same could be said about Lionel. Since childhood, he was a force to be reckoned with. At the age of 8, Diego was discovered by a neighbor who took him to train with Argentinos Juniors. Messi was 4 years old when he played for Grandoli, a small local club in his city where he would average 6 to 7 goals per game. It was obvious that they were both destined for greatness. In 1976, a week before his 16th birthday, Diego Maradona debuted with Argentinos Juniors, and during his 5 years with the club, he managed to score a total of 115 goals. His skills on the pitch amazed everyone, and his potential did not go unnoticed. One of the country's greatest teams, Boca Juniors, did not hesitate to offer Diego a contract. Maradona reached the Bombonera in 1981, and he played with one of the most popular teams in the capital before his 21st birthday. But his stay with the Argentine Giants was brief. When the 1982 World Cup arrived, Diego formed part of the team that would be travelling to Spain. Maradona's debut was not enough to take the Albiceleste past the first round. After the tournament, he did not return home with the national team. The youngster had been purchased by Football Club Barcelona for $7.7 million, a record-breaking amount at the time. Messi's rise in Europe happened under completely different circumstances. At the age of 11, he was diagnosed with a growth hormone deficiency. This almost changed the course of his life, but his family was persistent in finding Leo a sponsor that would pay for his treatment. Representatives of Football Club Barcelona had the opportunity to witness La Pulga practice, and as soon as they saw him play, they decided to cover the entire cost of his treatment. In 2004, after 4 years with the youth academy, he made his first team debut. Maradona played in Barcelona for only 2 seasons. In 1984, he was transferred to Napoli. He arrived at the San Paolo during the prime of his career, ready to make history. In 1986, at the age of 25, Maradona was ready to participate in his second World Cup. During this tournament, in the quarter-final match versus England, Diego was involved in one of the most controversial moments of his career, and also one of the most memorable plays in football history. A ball that was disputed between him and English goalkeeper Peter Shilton ended up in the net. The goal was validated, and the polemical controversy began. Diego had scored the goal with his hand. The play was baptized as the Hand of God, and it is still remembered and discussed in football pitches across the globe today. Within minutes, Maradona went from villain to hero. He scored one of the most incredible goals of his career, so grandiose and spectacular that it was named the goal of the century. Eventually, Diego reached football supremacy by crowning Argentina World Cup champions for the second time in history. Back in Italy, he continued to astound the fans. In 1989, he led Napoli to their first league title and UEFA Cup victory. Then in 1990, they achieved their second Serie A title. His image has been immortalized in Italy. His contributions and leadership in Napoli have left a permanent mark on its people. Murals and shrines throughout the city are dedicated to him, and to this day, Diego is remembered as a god in the city of Naples. Despite having achieved glory in Italy, Maradona began to struggle. He tested positive for cocaine and was consequently suspended from the sport for 15 months. In 1992, he left the Italian club and his number 10 shirt was retired. But the Giants' real downfall did not come until the 1994 World Cup. Following the second match, he tested positive during an anti-doping inspection. He was expelled from the tournament, and Argentina was eventually eliminated. Diego Armando Maradona officially retired in 1997, sporting his beloved Boca Juniors jersey. Lionel Messi made his World Cup debut at the 2006 World Cup in Germany. He was part of the action during their second game versus Serbia and Montenegro, where he scored his very first World Cup goal. By 2009, La Pulga was the star of a team that was built to succeed. That year, Barcelona broke the record for most trophies won in a competitive year. Messi impressed during every single match, and his incredible season won him his first of 4 consecutive Ballon d'Or. But his peak had yet to come. In 2012, he broke another world record, this time for the highest number of goals scored in a calendar year. 91 goals between his club and national team earned him that achievement. With 3 Champions League, 4 Ballon d'Or and 5 Spanish leagues conquered by the age of 25, the world began to understand that Lionel Messi was from another dimension. In the 2014-15 season, he won his 3rd Copa del Rey, 4th Champions League and 7th Spanish League, as well as individually his 5th Ballon d'Or. On the pitch, both Diego and Leo fluctuate between the right wing and the middle, playing as centre-attacking mids. Throughout his career, Maradona played with more grit, always demonstrating an almost warrior-like style on the pitch. He efficiently combined his skill with strength. Messi, on the other hand, resorts more towards his ingenuity, vision and creativity on the field. Leo has scored more than 600 goals to date, while El Diego scored just over 300 goals during his 21-year career. Both are avid dribblers due to the combination of their small size and agility. Their similar playing styles categorizes them as the legends they are today. They are recognized as true technical geniuses, distinguished by their mastery and creativity on the field, which they use to build memorable, indescribable and effective plays. The way these two athletes placed themselves on the pitch had many striking similarities, but the way these two have led their private lives could not be more different. Diego Maradona has been involved in numerous scandals, while Lionel Messi has led a quieter and more private lifestyle. Maradona married Claudia Villafana in 1989. The couple had 2 daughters, Dalma and Giannina. After 14 years together, the couple announced their separation. During his time in Naples, he had an extramarital son named Diego Sinagra, who is now also a professional football player. Diego has struggled with alcohol and drug addiction for many years. In 2001, he was hospitalized in Buenos Aires due to a life-threatening overdose. In 2004, he stated that he had fully recovered from his addictions. Maradona has also been very bold with his political decisions. His support for leftist ideologies have even found a place on his body. Diego currently lives in Dubai and enjoys the benefits that his multi-million-dollar career left him. Lionel Messi is the opposite. He stays as far away from controversy as possible. In 2017, he married his childhood girlfriend, Antonella Roccuzzo, in their hometown Rosario. Together they have 3 children, Tiago, Matteo and Ciro. Today, Messi is one of the best-paid athletes in the world. The riches have not changed him. The Argentine has remained humble and is known for his introverted demeanor. The legends of the game are those who broke the paradigms of the sport. They are those who feel the game run through their veins and come alive as soon as that whistle blows. They are those who imagine, create, visualize and play football as if it were magic. The lives of these 8 personalities have shaped them into iconic individuals. These football players traversed through the sport over the last 50 years. They have experienced obstacles, triumphs, and different versions of the game. They dared to challenge the impossible and paved the way to football glory. This is Draw.